been here. This year for vegetable seed, there's not really a whole lot of new and exciting things out there. Few things, but a lot of the stuff that they are saying is new has actually been things that were out a few years ago that were gone and now are back. So there's not really a lot of new things. Even the All-American Award winners this year, I think for vegetable, there's only one or two things, a yellow-skinned watermelon, and I think some type of a pepper. But really, as far as vegetables, there's not a whole lot of new out there. New that I've brought in, I basically started bringing in things that have been requested by either market gardeners or Hutterite colonies that they've tried, that they've raved about. So they may not be new to the whole market area, but they will be new to our market area. The first thing we brought in this year, was the Chioggia beets. And Chioggia beets are a heritage beet, like they're the red and white striped one. They actually were named after a village in Italy. So, but the one I brought in is the Guardsman, and the reason I brought that in, it's a newer type of Chioggia beet. It maintains its color better. Whereas the old one, as soon as you boiled it, it just kind of turned kind of a wishy-washy, pinky, creamy color. This one maintains its definite circles a little bit more than the old ones. Plus, doesn't get as woody as quick as the old ones did. So that's one of the new things that I've brought in. You're not going to believe this, but carrots are a real sore spot with me this year, because I'm sure you all know that carrot seed takes 2 years to develop. With all the drought and all the flooding and where all the carrot seed is grown, there has been major crop failures of carrot seed, if you can believe it. So getting it in, I am waiting for seed that I ordered last June for carrot seed. I'm still waiting for it to get here because now they have to wait for an additional crop. Sweet Baby Jane was a carrot that was produced as a mini carrot, but you could leave it grow to a full-size carrot. It was amazing. I still have some seed on it because you can... Hi, Don.
Hi. Make an entrance.
You could pick it as a baby carrot. You could leave it to grow as a full carrot. It was sweet. It stored well. I do have some seed just in small packets. But that is one now that, because it came on the market 2 years ago and everybody loved it, now they're saying crop failure, no seed now probably till April 2014 after what this crop is done. But they replaced it with one called Tendersnax, which is just as good as flavor, will keep just as well, tiny core, the whole bit, the same as the Sweet Baby Jane. One difference, much later to develop, and that is its big drawback, because especially if you want to get a jump start, if you're a market gardener or colony or something on selling, you want something that's going to be early. This one is like 2 to 3 weeks later, and for the home gardener, most people really don't care that much, but for a market gardener, that is a big deal. But it still has a really sweet taste. So now they're all jumping to the Nelson and the Bolero. Nelson carrot is a new one, and it's only available through one supplier in Canada, one big company. It's got a really great taste, great deep red color, small core, very long. The only thing is, it's a Nantes-Imperator cross versus most of the other ones that are just Nantes. So I don't know if any of you have grown the Imperator, but they get that really long tip on it. Doesn't keep all that well. That it'll get like a wet noodle after in storage for about a month or so. Whereas the Bolero is more of your Nantes type. It has the blunt tip. It will keep forever, and no matter how long it stays in storage, it stays sweet. So if you're looking for a carrot that doesn't have a big core, has a nice sweet taste, and will keep forever, my recommendation would be a Bolero carrot. So that's it. And at the store right now, every day, we are probably getting 40 phone calls on Cool Breeze cucumber. How many of you here have ever grown Cool Breeze? Then you all know that Cool Breeze has not been available for the last few years. It was replaced at first by one called Matilda, which it was the same as Cool Breeze in that it didn't need bees to pollinate, it was early, whereas all the ones of you who have grown Cool Breeze, you know that it has that sandpaper type skin. It doesn't have your traditional cucumber skin. Matilda had your traditional cucumber skin. Other than that, its basic characteristics were the same. But yes, Cool Breeze is available this year. It just came in a few weeks ago to the store. Now that it's in, not only we had replaced it last year with a variety called Quarantine. Now the big question is, which one's better? I've grown both. When you pick them, put them on a plate beside each other. If I spun that plate around, you guys would not have a clue which one is which. The only difference is, okay, the same parts. I'll start with the same. They're both 45 days. They both don't need bees to pollinate. They both are basically seedless. They both have the sandpapery skin. I'm not sure why they just don't name them all the same, because really the only difference is Cool Breeze is a smaller plant. So in the city garden, the Cool Breeze probably works better because you're limited in space. Whereas the Quarantine is more of your traditional cucumber that spreads more. I've done a lot of research on both of them through the supplier as well as online. They are saying if Cool Breeze is planted beside another cucumber that has seeds like your straight eights or your Ashleys or something like that, Cool Breeze will develop seed. There is no saying that Quarantine will. So that's your basic difference. Taste, days to maturity, no bees, all of that, they're all basically the same. So if you can't get one, take the other. Neither one is going to disappoint you because they really, really do produce a lot. Lettuce, and this is another thing this year, if you can believe it, lettuce seed is kind of getting hard to come by, and a lot of the older varieties are being discontinued and they're bringing in new varieties. Baby Star was a really, really very popular lettuce for many years because it was the miniature romaine lettuce. And it was so much earlier than your full-size lettuce that people liked it, especially, people in the city with a limited space, smaller, and it was great. Like for my husband and me, I could go out and take one little head and it was enough for a salad. I didn't have to worry about trying to keep it or anything like that. Well, that one, they say it's coming back, but they also said it's going to be coming back at about 15 times the price it was before. So in order for me to put 100 seeds in a package for you guys to buy, I would have to charge you like $9. So it's going to be back, but it's going to be so outrageously priced that no one's going to want it. So I found a new one, and it's called Bambi. And Bambi, they classify it as a mini romaine as well. The only thing is, I grew it last year, and the texture on it is a little bit different than your traditional romaine. It has, I'm sure you probably all tasted a butter lettuce at one time, like your butter crunch or something. It has somewhat of that texture versus the regular romaine, but it's really good, and it's got these really cute little small heads. So, it's something to try if you're looking for something different. The big thing this year is Aladdin peas, and it's not in our catalog. That seed just came in actually on Thursday. I was kind of iffy even to put it in here because I didn't know for sure if I was going to get it. But it is the big rave. I ordered in something like 800 pounds of this seed because I have every market and every Hutterite colony in Saskatchewan and Alberta phoning saying they want this pea seed. They've all grown it last year. They said it is absolutely amazing. It's an aphylla type pea, which means that it's basically semi-leafless or has no leaves. I don't know if any of you remember the old novella peas, like that may be dating me a little bit. But this is the one when I first started at Early's, was a big range. It was called Novella, and it was semi-leafless. And after about 4 years, it got to the point that the developer of it and the only person that had the license to sell it knew he had something unique, and therefore the price of it went from $2 a pound to $20 a pound overnight. Well, now we have the new one. It's called Aladdin. And my Hutterite colonies say the women don't want any other pea other than that. That's it. It has semi-leafless, and what it does is when you grow it, it grows up and it all intertwines together because it's very viney. All the peas grow on the outside of the plant. So basically you walk down into done. The peas are, they say, are about 3 to 3.5 inches long. Very, very, very sweet. And they like it because it's concentrated to basically 2 pickings in a year. You get 2 big pickings and then it's basically done. And you're also not, and because it intertwines, you don't have to worry about trellising. It grows to about anywhere, they say it depends on the weather conditions, but anywhere from 18 to 24, 26 inches, and everything's on the outside. So it makes picking so easy, and they're all swearing by it. So I brought it in. I myself have tasted the peas because they brought me a sample, but I have never grown it. But I have found over the years, if a market gardener and a Hutterite recommend something, it's usually worth bringing in because they know their stuff. A new pepper out this year, and it is not in the catalog either, and I don't know how many of you grow your own peppers or like the colored peppers. Like a lot of people just want your traditional green pepper or your traditional cayenne. This one is an orange pepper, and they brought me a sample of it, and I mean it's like tangerine orange when it ripens. And you probably know that most peppers start out green and then turn to whatever color they're supposed to turn to. But in our growing season, it's very seldom that we have a long enough growing season to actually have them turn properly. This one, they say from the day of transplant until picking orange, bright orange, you're looking at about 70 days, and that for us works. But they brought me one, and it's like I have never seen in the grocery store an orange. It's just brilliant orange pepper. So if you're interested in growing your own pepper, that's one to try. Pumpkins have become a really big thing this last while. I know my daughters, now that I have 4 grandsons, they take the grandbabies to these, what's it called by Regina, Pumpkin Hollow or something, where they can go and pick their own pumpkins and all of this. And I've really noticed in our customers, pumpkin have been becoming a big thing. But most people in the city don't have room to grow pumpkins. It's just not something that we have. So they've come out with a new one called Aspen, and it actually does very, very well in the city. It's not this one that's going to crawl across your lawn and up your apple tree or anything like that. It's a quite compact plant, and it's got a really nice big pumpkin that works great for jack-o'-lanterns, but it's kind of a cross between your small sugar and your jack-o'-lantern pumpkin, whereas the small sugar is strictly a more dry for pumpkin pies and stuff, whereas your jack-o'-lantern is such a watery pumpkin that doesn't make great pies. This is somewhere in the middle. It will work for both, and it's small, that if you want to grow, you know, a couple plants in the city for your kids or grandkids to come over and have fun with, that's the one for the city. Don't go with the old jack-o'-lantern or small sugar, because like I say, it'll be across your lawn and up your apple tree because it spreads so much. A new squash, and I actually use this squash to mix with my pumpkin when I make pumpkin pie, because it's quite dry. And I don't know if any of you have grown the buttercup squash, but you find that quite often they're late. By the time you go to harvest, they're like this big. Bonbon was an All-American Award winner a few years ago, and I grew it last year for the first time myself, and I have an acre garden out at the farm that gets no love or attention because I don't have time between working full-time and having a husband who gets ignored a lot, and 2 dogs and a city garden and everything. So what I plant at my acreage, it gets planted. The only time it gets weeded is when we take the riding rototiller between the rows. And if it can make it out there, it can make it anywhere. And I planted this bonbon squash out there, and we ignored it, and then it froze. Just a light frost, but you know how pumpkin plants and squash plants, a little light frost, and they just... We went out there and we planted the 10 seeds that came in the package, and we harvested 99 squash. I brought some into work, and actually, I don't know if there's a picture of it in our catalog, but if there is, it's the one out of my garden. I had squash that were like this big around and like this deep, and it was amazing. And yet I had planted some of the old buttercup, and when it froze, I had squash like this. So if you want to plant a buttercup squash, I highly recommend for our area that bonbon, because you are going to have, I hope you have lots of friends, because if it produces like mine did, you're going to be going, hey, would you like one? And here. I just took boxes to work and set it on the coffee table. So help yourself, people.
Is that a good keeper?
You know what, I still probably got a dozen down in my basement, and I don't have a cold storage room in my basement. I just set it on the floor in boxes in front of my fireplace, and they're still as hard as the day that I picked them. They are nice. They are really nice, and they have a nice sweet taste to them. And that's what, and one reason I mixed them with the pumpkin, because they're quite dry. And they just took on the taste of the spices in the pumpkin, and my kids never even, if they had known there was squash in the pumpkin pie, they probably wouldn't have ate it.
It's a nice bright yellow.
It's a bright dark orange. It's just, ooh, it's really, really nice. It's not the yellow like the Sweet Mama and them have more of that yellowy squash. Yeah. This has that deep, deep dark orange squash. It's really nice. Tomatoes this year, somebody asked me if we have lots of Defiant tomato seed. Yes, we do. Did you grow it? Did anyone grow? How did it go for you?
Wonderful. Go very well.
Oh, now I have it.
Wonderful. I grew about 25 plants, and I ended up with paper boxes, you know, they're big. I ended up with 6 paper boxes full of Defiant tomatoes, and a friend of mine did the same, and we want that plant.
Yeah, I've got seed.
Yeah.
I think a lot, you know, I'm a firm believer in soil. I really, really am. Some things will grow wonderful, and the same thing in the next door neighbor won't. Like an onion garden. I can buy onion sets and plant them here in the city in my garden, and I will get these little golf ball size onions like this. Out at the farm I have amazing, I'll plant the other half of the package, and at the end of the year I will have onions like this. So I'm a firm believer in, if you have the proper soil for some things, they produce. If you don't, they don't. And I can speak from experience, because I got hard, heavy, clay, ugly soil here in the city. I got wonderful, rich, sandy soil out at the farm. Like we planted, I did Defiant tomatoes last year, but I did a lot of others too. And out of 30 plants out the farm, I did 100 quarts of spaghetti sauce and 100 quarts of salsa, and probably 40 quarts of canned tomatoes, plus all the eating. So the next tomatoes I'm going to talk about are my personal recommendations. Rocky Top, if you've never grown Rocky Top, do it. It is the most amazing tomato out. It gives you a nice, big, red tomato. It really, really produces, and it's when you go to cut in it, it doesn't have the seeds running all over. It's fairly meaty. It is just, and it produces like, and it's early. Have you tried it?
Yeah,
Isn't it amazing?
It's nice. It's a nice time, and it didn't get super bushy.
No.
I didn't have to stake it, and chop at it, and
Yeah,
it was a good
it's
plant.
amazing, and most people haven't heard of it. It's in our catalog this year for the first
I
time.
think you brought it up last year
Yeah.
as one of the ones for the blight.
And actually, it's kind of funny, I got the University Cultivar Test book yesterday in the mail at work, and their top recommendation, one of them, for tomatoes is Rocky Top. So if you get a chance, really do try it. Champion tomato is one that I brought in this year, but this is Champion 2, and this is what I was talking about, like, there's something that's there, and then it's gone, and then it comes back as kind of the new and improved. Champion, we had Champion tomato in probably about 10 years ago, and it was phenomenal. It produced the nice, big, gigantic red tomatoes, like same as the Rocky Top, not these massive plants or anything like this. And then we had it for about 3 years, and everybody was coming and saying, oh, they wanted it, and then all of a sudden it was gone. This year it's come back, and new and improved Champion 2. I don't know. I'm hoping by recommending it, I'm going on the recommendation of the old Champion. I hope this isn't going to bite me in the butt, because it's kind of the same as, I don't remember if you guys remember Flora America tomato.
Yeah.
And then it was gone, and they came back with a new improved Flora America called Floralina. And it was a disaster. Floralina, like, it was like a 90-day tomato, even though in the catalogs it said 60 days. It didn't produce, and at the end of our growing season, I went out to the garden, and this Floralina had tomatoes about this big on it. It was so late, but it was supposed to be the new and improved Flora America. Well, this is supposed to be the new and improved Champion, and if it's anywhere close to the old Champion, you'll love it. Otherwise, nah, you might come back and say, you told me to try this and I wasted my money. So, but that's a new one, and it's supposed to be wonderful. So,
Do you have any black cranberry seeds or chocolate that's dark?
we do have